Sisters Nicole and Erica Barada look like your typical 20-somethings, just hanging out and having a good time. After earning their degrees, they're working full-time, paying off student loans, and enjoying the freedom of single life.
It's good for me because I like to just do random things. Like if I just feel like going somewhere, I don't have to sit there and ask, like, oh, gotta plan this with someone. I can just go.
I'm able to take the time and really find out who I am and what I want to be.
The Barada sisters are like many in the millennial generation. They say they've got their priorities straight and marriage isn't anywhere near the top of the list. Instead, it's more about getting an education and pursuing their careers.
And I think when you're younger, like in your 20s, I think it's kind of okay to be selfish and kind of just work on yourself, because you're going to become someone as you get older who might be a bit different.
A recent study finds the marriage rate has dropped for years, and the percentage of millennials marrying by age 40 will fall lower than any generation before them. From 1990 to 2010, that rate dropped less than 10%, from baby boomers at 91% to Generation X at 82%. By the time millennials reach 40, it could fall as low as 69%. CBN contributor and economist Stephen Moore says this decline could pose a serious problem.
Marriage is one of the most important economic stimulus to the economy that we could have. This is one of the most important elements to reducing poverty, is keeping marriage rates high and keeping marriages successful.
Moore worries that this millennial trend could mean more children growing up without a mother and father in the home.
The data is unbelievably clear on this, that children who grow up in homes with two parents are very unlikely to live in poverty, whereas poverty rates are much higher in divorced households or households without a father.
The Barada sisters say their Christian faith gives them a more traditional view. While they're saving their sexual purity for marriage, planning a family hasn't really been a priority.
I was never that little girl who, at the age of 5, had my wedding planned, what flowers I was gonna have, what wedding dress. Never thought about it.
Because I grew up watching like the Disney movies, and everyone's like, those girls who watch Disney all want to get married, and that's what it teaches them. I kind of always thought as like, I want to be the girl who has the adventure.
To find out how some of their peers feel, CBN News hit the streets near Georgetown University. We couldn't find a single student who was ready to think about marriage anytime soon. In fact, some of them were opposed to the idea altogether.
I'd say don't get married.
Yeah, I think this is a wiser generation that honestly wants more options, and especially for me as a woman, my career options are pretty limited if I get married in the next 5 years.
Roderick Hairston is the senior pastor at Messiah Community Church in Owings Mills, Maryland. He's also a former chaplain to the Baltimore Ravens and the author of the book Cover Her. He says the church should be concerned with this generation delaying marriage and agrees one of the most devastating effects will be on children.
I think we're at the battle line, and the church has to be front and center, making marriage work, getting marriages healthy, celebrating marriages, so that our children can see that there is a place in our culture and society where marriage really does work.
Roderick believes the benefits of a godly marriage can't be ignored: spiritual, emotional, and even for good physical health.
When a marriage is strong and when it's healthy, obviously anxiety levels go down, which means that your blood pressure is not as high, which means that your cholesterol level is not as high.
Still, the Barada sisters say they're happy and healthy being single. And like many millennials, they're not anxious to change their minds anytime soon.
So definitely, I mean, marriage, there's benefits for it, but being single's great too.
Well, Caitlin's here with us. Hey, listen, when you're dealing with these people, what was causing them? Is it strictly career? Is that what they're saying?
They're so focused on what they think their priorities are. So right now, that's education. A lot of the kids we talked to were in college. So of course, that's a priority. Their future career is a priority. They're putting all of this effort and money into their education. They want to use it. But I spoke with best-selling author of The Good News About Marriage, Shaunti Feldhahn, and she says there is hope. There's what millennials say their priorities are, but there's also their subconscious priorities, which, you know, they want to find somebody to do life with. And when they find that person, that quickly moves to the top of their priority list.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Well, Is this trend going to continue, though? I mean, you've got the stats going way, way down. Is that what we're looking at over the next 20, 30 years?
Millennials are waiting longer to get married. So you will probably see millennials getting married late 20s, early 30s. But statistically, that's actually healthier. Getting married young adds a lot of risk factors. So when you see these marriages later in their 20s into early 30s, mid 30s, those marriages statistically have a higher success rate.
You know, we've had this so-called sexual revolution. People used to have to wait till they got married before they began to be sexually active. Now, apparently, anything goes. Is that playing a part? I mean, if a guy thinks, well, it's all available, I don't have to get married, and why take on the responsibility to do it? Are any of them expressing those feelings to you?
One of the concerns that I've actually heard a lot about millennials in the church is that because of that purity factor, a lot of millennials are still waiting for marriage, and because of that, some of them are rushing into marriage. They're not waiting because they want to try and stick to those morals, and those marriages generally hit some rocky patches.
Well. Yeah, Caitlin, you're doing good work. Thank you so much for that. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what this does, but I'm proud of the millennials. I think the hope of our world is in them. And they've got the future because they are the future.